Alright, so I recently played through NBA Jam, the EA reboot. Man, I've got some good memories with the Genesis version. My one neighbor had it, and we were all into retro games for a while in the 360 era. Probably when this game was actually already out, we were playing the classic Genesis version. There were, three, sometimes four of us, getting super competitive because obviously loser had to hand over the controller to the person sitting out. But, eventually getting the four-player adapter and getting Tournament Edition. My neighbor must have been a fan of the Chicago Bulls because, that was always the team selected with Scottie Pippen and I think the teammate, I don't know if we were switching the teammate or if it was different in the regular and Tournament Edition, but then of course getting Tournament Edition and having access to some of the wacky guest characters, which was, one of the things I was happy to see they got right here too. Except the one thing is I think in the originals you can put, the Beastie Boys, Bill Clinton, whatever, on any team, where here the political parties and Beastie Boys all have their own separate teams, which I don't necessarily prefer, but, it's definitely better than nothing. I believe the original announcer's back, too. I was surprised some of the edgier references with, talking about facials and referencing Two Girls, One Cup. It was an interesting surprise, but gameplay-wise, this is really, really close to what I remember. There might be something a little different that I just can't place my finger on. Almost like Crash Insane Trilogy. It's like that close. And, still definitely infinitely fun in its own right. The only complaint I would have gameplay-wise is I wish Turbo was a little different. Like if you consumed it quicker or just overall had less. Because, I don't know, it just never felt like running out was something I was ever worried about or, changing how quickly it fills back up. I kind of thought it was, a little more of something I was paying attention to on the Genesis one. That and alley-oops are a little, I don't even remember really doing them on the Genesis version. I guess it was possible, but here the input is pretty easy. So I don't know if there was a way to, make timing a little stricter or, just do something. Because I feel like on the Genesis, pulling off an alley-oop would feel, pretty rewarding, kind of tougher to pull off than it is here. Or even, this might even be a thing too, if you can shoot a three-pointer and almost use an alley-oop as insurance if you miss it. Speaking of three-pointers though, I feel like the CPUs, as a player, and I don't think input matters, right? Like the input just determines when you let go of the ball in terms of, sort of avoiding a block, not, necessarily being off target or whatever. I could be wrong about that, misremembering whatever. But I feel like the CPUs, even on easy, barely missed the three-pointers where unless I got someone with, a high three-pointer skill, where, the CPUs, it doesn't seem to matter, and I have them on fire, and even then, sometimes it's just not hitting the way you would think it would for the player. The big mode here is Road Trip, where you essentially just have to beat every team in the league. You're supposed to play through 3 matches, and they progressively get tougher. They do have a lot of legends in this game. Hopefully a lot, because I'm not super familiar with basketball, but hopefully, Scottie Pippen was there, but like I said, he was the one I sort of knew from the original. But hopefully there's a lot of original NBA Jam players available as legends, but you would play against, some tougher players, some legends as you go up. And then the third, and there might be a fourth one, if you get so many of the third tier games done, but then they'll add certain modifiers to the game. And these modifiers are also, I believe, available for, just free play matches. There's some visual filters. I didn't think any of them were really appealing, besides the disco one. The disco one, you kind of have to sort of retrain your eyes to focus because it is a little distracting. But I don't know, there's sort of like a shit brown one, a black and white one. I didn't really care. You can change the appearance of the ball, but I don't think it really affects anything. The only modifier that really changed stuff was Mini-Man, which would make all the players small, and it would make them quicker and sort of lower the gravity on them, which was pretty fun. Pretty fun variant. I think it would be cool if they almost took a Smash-like approach where they sort of let you just have more modifiers and let you sort of mix and match them in special matches. Especially if they distinguished like the ball from the player. So I don't know, you can maybe have high gravity ball but low gravity players or something like that. Oh, I guess there was another one too. There was One Shot on Fire, where pretty much one player is always on fire. But besides that, the game sort of just plays out the same. But yeah, for me, it was only really worth... I wound up going through and beating every team once, but doing the highest difficulty challenge I only did with one team. I just didn't think it was worth the investment there, especially since it can get pretty tough. Also, rip the Seattle Sonics. I was wondering why they were grouped with the special teams. I looked it up and didn't realize they weren't around anymore. They were rebranded, I guess, relocated and all of that. Something I found really weird, so this is the On Fire edition on Xbox, which, from what I remember, was available longer than you would have thought. Like, this came out early 2010s, and it's delisted now, but I picked it up way later than I thought I would have been able to, especially with all the, licensing for, likenesses and all the teams and that. But I guess the Wii version, and maybe the original version for other platformers, had mini games that they just completely removed. And I guess I can kind of get from a balancing aspect, because I think that's what they said too, is that they were more focused on the core experience, and that's fine. If the stuff didn't already exist, I mean, would it really care if the little mini games that you just sort of play on the side were a little broken? I don't know, it just seems like a really odd move in my opinion, and something I really wish they didn't do. I would have loved to have tried them out, gotten a little, more playtime out of the game, had a little something to, take a break from the action a bit with, maybe recharge and, play some more regular games then. Music's pretty good, about what you would expect from this sort of game, although I do miss the original theme from the Genesis. That was a pretty good one. I wish it was here in the, remake or whatever of it, but that I don't know how the licensing goes with that, with especially how messy, because it's EA. I believe EA still has it, but it was Midway at a point, so bit of a weird situation. What's kind of cool though is, like, I never really heard a lot about the game. It just sort of came and went, and I just kind of thought, it was okay, but we never got any sequels, so I wasn't expecting it to have sort of a dedicated, active community. But there is. They have a whole Legends 2000 90s editions. It's all only for the PS3 version, but I just think that's really cool. They, updated the rosters, added some animations. I don't know if they're really able to, add any features or major changes gameplay-wise, but I just thought that was really cool and worth checking out. And in general, I just had a lot of fun with this one. Definitely very nostalgic and something almost like a fighting game that I can see myself, just picking up for the hell of it, playing a few matches. When the mood strikes, it was definitely far too long between now and the last time I played this series. And just a shame this whole genre, honestly, of sports games just gone for the most part, because, these are the ones that really click with me, and I saw some other stuff coming up too that I'm not alone.